You grab your keys. You say goodbye, maybe to your cat, maybe just to the room. You close the door behind you, and then what? Most owners picture their cat doing one of two things: either sleeping in the same spot until they return, completely unbothered, or prowling the house restlessly, maybe knocking something off a shelf out of spite. The truth is stranger and more fascinating than either of those. What your cat actually does when you leave, what happens in its mind, its body, and its behavior the moment the decker closes, tells you more about the nature of your relationship than almost anything else. And for most owners, what researchers have found comes as a genuine surprise. Let's get into it. The first thing that happens is not what you think. The moment you leave, your cat does not immediately relax into a peaceful nap. For many cats, particularly those with a strong bond to their owner, the departure triggers a measurable stress response. Cortisol levels, the hormone associated with stress and alertness, rise in the manads immediately following separation. Heart rate changes. The cat enters a state of low-level vigilance that is the biological opposite of the calm, sleepy indifference most owners imagine. This is not separation anxiety in the clinical sense, though that exists too, and we will get to it. This is simply the natural response of a social animal to the sudden absence of its primary attachment figure. Because here's the thing most people still get wrong about cats. They are not asocial. They are not indifferent to the people they live with. Study after study over the past 2 decades has confirmed that cats form genuine attachments to their owners, not as deep or as broadly demonstrated as dogs, but real, measurable, and meaningful. When you leave, your cat notices, its body responds, and the first few minutes after you close that door are anything but peaceful. What they actually do with their time. Once that initial adjustment settles, usually within 15 to 30 minutes for most cats, what comes next depends heavily on the individual animal, the environment, and the length of the absence. But research using remote cameras and activity monitors has painted a surprisingly consistent picture. The first thing most cats do is investigate. They move through the home in a slow, methodical patrol, checking familiar spots, sniffing areas where you have recently been, marking surfaces with their scent glands as they go. This is not aimless wandering. It is your cat reestablishing its map of the territory, confirming that everything is where it should be, and reinforcing its own scent presence in a space that now lacks yours. Your clothes, your pillow, the chair you sit in most, these become focal points. Your scent, even in your absence, functions as an anchor, a signal that even though you are gone, you belong to this space and you will return. After the patrol, most cats do settle. They find a preferred resting spot, often elevated with a clear sightline to a door or window, and sleep. But even that sleep is lighter than it appears. A sound at the door or an unusual noise will bring them to full alertness immediately. The ones who struggle for some cats, the absence of their owner is not something they move through and settle from. It is something they stay in. Separation-related distress in cats is more common than most people realize, and more commonly missed, because cats do not express it the way dogs do. There is no howling at the door, no destroyed furniture in most cases, no obvious distress signal that a returning owner would immediately notice. Instead, the signs are quieter. A cat with separation anxiety may overgroom, licking patches of fur until the skin is irritated, often on the belly or inner legs where owners rarely check. It may eat irregularly or stop eating entirely during long absences. It may eliminate outside the litter box. It may vocalize excessively, but not when you are home, but during your absence, in a way your neighbors may know about and you do not. When you return, the overly distressed cat often shows one of two patterns. Either it is frantically attentive, following you from room to room, unable to settle, demanding contact in a way that feels less like affection and more like relief, or it is unusually withdrawn, slow to approach, almost flat in its response, as if the emotional cost of the absence has depleted something. Both are signs that the separation is harder for that cat than it should be, and both are treatable, with environmental enrichment, with changes to your departure and arrival routines, and in more significant cases, with behavioral support. Before we continue, if this is giving you a new way of seeing your cat and you have not subscribed yet, now is the moment. We cover animal psychology and behavior like this every week. Content that actually changes how you understand the animal you live with. It is free and takes one tap. Subscribe and keep watching, because what comes next is the part most owners find most surprising. What they do just before you come home. Here is one of the most fascinating findings to come out of cat behavior research in recent years. Many cats appear to anticipate their owner's return before there is any detectable signal that it is coming. Owners reported this for years. Their cat would move to the door or to a window facing the street, or simply change its behavior and become more alert well before the car pulled into the driveway or the key hit the lock. The explanation most people reached for was hearing cats can detect sounds at far greater distances than humans, so perhaps they were picking up footsteps or an engine. But in controlled studies, where owners returned at randomized times and via different routes, the anticipatory behavior persisted. Some researchers have pointed to the possibility that cats track their owner's scent trail, the gradual strengthening of a familiar smell as a person approaches, as a potential mechanism. Others have suggested that cats, as creatures of deep routine, build precise internal models of their owner's schedule and begin to orient toward return based on time elapsed alone. Whatever the mechanism, the behavior is real and well documented. Your cat is not simply reacting to you when you walk through the door. In many cases, it has already been preparing for your return for several minutes before you arrive. The emotional reset. When you walk back in, what happens at the moment of reunion tells you a great deal about the quality of your bond. A securely attached cat, one that trusts your return, that has been secure enough in your absence to rest and move normally, will typically greet you with moderate enthusiasm, a slow approach, a tail raised in greeting, which in cat language is one of the clearest signals of positive social recognition. Perhaps a head bump against your leg, or a slow blink directed at your face, and then, relatively quickly, a return to normal behavior, calm, settled, complete. This is the cat equivalent of a person returning home to someone they love and feeling the quiet satisfaction of being back. Not dramatic, not frantic, just right. A cat that greets you frantically or one that barely responds is telling you something different. The first is a cat that was not okay while you were gone. The second may be a cat that has learned over time that greetings do not lead anywhere meaningful, that you return, move past it, and the interaction ends before it begins. Both are worth paying attention to. Both are worth responding to differently than you might have before you understood what they meant. What you can do. The most important thing you can do for your cat's experience of your absence is what you do before you leave and after you return. Departures should be calm and consistent. Long emotional goodbyes elevate your cat's stress before the absence even begins. A quiet routine, the same actions in the same order, gives your cat a predictable signal that you are leaving, but that this is normal and safe. Arrival should be acknowledged, not frantically. Just a moment of genuine presence, getting low, making soft eye contact, letting your cat come to you at its own pace before you move on with your evening, and the environment you leave behind matters more than most owners realize. A window with a view, a perch at height, a piece of your worn clothing left accessible. These are not small comforts. They are the difference between a cat that spends your absence in quiet equilibrium and one that spends it in a low hum of stress it cannot name and you cannot see. Your cat experiences your absence. It processes your return. It carries the quality of your relationship with it through every hour you are not in the room. Now, you know what those hours actually look like. Drop a comment and tell me what you think your cat does while you were gone, and click the next video. What we cover there goes even deeper. See you there.